composition. It's more of a niche topic if you're not taking further. I like to define it as how you arrange things on a canvas, but it can really apply to anything. And the things you're arranging is people's interest in the canvas. So where do you want the person to look? That's what focal interest is. To give you a better idea of what composition is, I guess you can look at literally everything. Look at how people take professional photography of models. Look at your LinkedIn profile. Look at your portfolio that you might send to an architecture school. Look at all the ads that you watch every day. They're everywhere. It's just how you direct an audience's attention. So again, the main thing is focal interest. There are many ways to achieve it. I'll go over like about 4 ways. First thing, I like to talk about contrast. So where do you look first when you look at this image? You might notice her skin and the dress are very contrasted. Her skin is really pale, her dress is black. But then look at the second subject in this drawing. It's a desk. It only has some dark and light shades, but they're not as contrasted, so that's not the first thing to look at. This, by the way, is Promotional Mathematics by Johnson or something. Pretty iconic because of that contrast. Another one is impressionist drawing. They don't really focus on contrast in their art, generally, but they are really good at directing and transmitting colors. See here, what are the main colors here? There's a bunch of blue colors and a bunch of warm colors. A big part of this canvas is blues and purples and greens, but then you see a big block of warm color right at the sun and the reflection of the sun. So that's probably the first thing we'll look at in this drawing. Pretty big impressionist artist, Claudia Qiu. And another one is size. I think this one is pretty obvious. You look at the biggest object in a canvas. Here, famous composer Igor Stravinsky. The photographer does an interesting statement. Instead of photographing the composer as the main subject in this artwork, they photograph the size of the picture. And it makes a statement that maybe his music and his legacy is so much bigger than just him by himself. Some questions that you could ask.
That will be.
And finally, games. I think this one is like an interesting one to look at. When you look at a lot of artworks with a bunch of people, sometimes they have different people look at a certain direction. And the reason why it works is because you wonder where that person is going. So we see all these people in the last one. Look at all these people and they're hand gestures. You're kind of just turning your eyes towards Jesus, gesturing towards him. And so he becomes like a major focal interest in the image. A little side note too, you can see contrast being at play here too. All these people, they're in a more low contrast situation, but he's hand right behind a really bright window, so he stands out. Yeah, so that's for focal interest. That's like different ways you can grab someone's attention. But how do you put them in the canvas? So that's composition. So I'm going to split it into 2 types of composition. There's single point, there's multi-point. Single point basically means you have one subject in there, and since there's one subject, it naturally creates importance on that subject. And the way you put them in the canvas will change what you see. So this was pretty straightforward. A lot of religious drawings have this kind of composition. color centered in religious shows. Also, an interesting side of here is he centered the subject to be sideways on the canvas, so there's like a natural feeling of movement in it. Like her line of sight is tilting and to the left of the panel. And okay, technically you could, count it as two subjects, whatever. I'm gonna count this as one subject. Like look at how these subjects are positioned in the canvas. You might feel that like the head and the upper body, like where a lot of the mass is in this drawing, in Light Decker's work, is really high up in the canvas. Meanwhile, this photography here by Bettina from Israel, I don't know how to say her name. The figure is really like most of the mass is below of the bottom half of the canvas. And they in combination with a bunch of color and other art techniques, it really creates a mood. So this has a more elevated, bright, cheery mood. And this one, although like the colors are really like bright, contrasting, it feels kind of like down, almost sorrowful or solemn. Okay, moving on. So multiple composition. This is probably what you're going to see more often because in a composition you might want to direct it to several subjects. A lot of artists like to break up how much attention you want to show to different subjects. So like if you have 3 subjects here, usually you don't want to like put attention equally at all of them. Maybe you want to have a main focus and then maybe some secondary, less important focuses. It often makes it for a more interesting competition. And a go-to method, I always do it if you don't want to think and you want to make it look good, is rule of thirds. How it works is you put subjects on these intersections on thirds of the canvas, and it automatically creates a certain dichotomy between balance and imbalance. So there's the place of negative space, and you like, again, direct attention pretty easily. You see a lot in photography, actually. I guess here's a bunch of examples here. Kiki is the surface. Kiki is this intersection of canvas. Here, this is there's you see a separation between the subjects, people, and this whole advertisement. But then again, you don't have to do that. A lot of abstract pieces I've noticed they're really big and sprawling, and they tend to have subjects that equally distribute attention. These sizes are pretty similar, right? And they all have like pretty equal contrasting shapes and stuff. And that creates the effect of almost like a laundry game. You really don't know where it is.